Hey Empirenistas! Hello and welcome to this edition of Facebook Live Empirenista TV. I'm your host, Alicia Henderson, and today we are talking about the essentials that you need for your client attraction system. So before we start, hello to everybody who is watching. Hey girl, hey, shout me out of Hey girl, hey. If you are watching live, if you are a replay viewer, let me know you are watching on the replay, and also let me know where you are watching from around the world. If you are new to my page, hello. For those of you who do not know who I am Alicia Henderson, and I am the empire building business and online marketing strategist for service-based entrepreneurs who want to position themselves as the expert in their industry, slay their goals, and make bank. And I teach you guys all to have the online authority by utilizing online marketing strategies to grow your business. So that's what I do. I've been an entrepreneur since 2009. I have had a brick and mortar business. I sold that in June of 2016, and now I am operating a successful business consulting and strategy business. So, hey, can't have a business without clients, right? And that's what we're talking about today. So make sure you have your pen and paper together. I'm not going to have a long Facebook Live broadcast because I don't like to keep you guys for hours and hours and hours because that just doesn't make sense to do. But I do want to make sure that you know what the essentials are, at the bare minimum of having a client attraction system that makes you bank. You know that clients, you can't get clients if you have, or you can't make money, rather, if you have no clients, right? Basically, if you're operating a business that has no clients, then it's in hobby, get ready mode. It's not in business financial mode. If you have no way to do this, if you don't have a strategy in place, then you're just operating the business by the seat of your pants. And let's just be honest. And of course, there's no shame in that because at one point in time, everybody who's been an entrepreneur, they've done that. When I started my medical billing company, I thought that it was just going to be, I have a website and I have business cards, and let me send out these postcards, and also let me send out these envelopes, hand-addressed envelopes to doctors and healthcare professionals to get them to work with me. And that was a great strategy. That was the strategy that I put together, but it did not work. It was expensive and did not yield results that I wanted. If I sent out 200 to 400 postcards or handwritten, hand-addressed envelopes with letters in them, I may get 1 or 2 calls, and those are not guaranteed to get clients. They were people who were not a good fit. Let's just say that. So that's why I'm sharing these essentials, because I know how it is starting out to do everything. Everything that we see, Facebook Lives, webinars, Facebook ads, at the time, a couple of times ago, there was Periscope. I don't know if anybody's on that. Are you on that still? If you are, let me know if that still works. Periscope was there. There's Instagram. There's Snapchat. There's LinkedIn. There's Google+. There's all these ways. There's Pinterest to market your business. And if we're doing all these things, we have no way to know what is working. We have no way to know what is bringing us clients in if we're having our hand in all the pots. Now, you can have yourself in multiple places with automation, and we'll talk about that. But in order for you to make sure that you can test and see what works, you need to have a client attraction strategy that's specifically geared for certain things, and then you test and see whether it works or not. You can really see right away sometimes what works in business for you by staying committed with it. So, hey girl, hey, let me know who is watching. So, and thanks for joining me. So the first essential, and this is very important, and I kind of touched about this about 30 seconds ago, is that you want to make sure that you have a client avatar. You know who your ideal client is. That's an essential to the client attraction, is that you know who that is. Now, I'm not saying do the whole rundown of the client. Ideal client is, 25, 26, or she's 44, and she's, 5'6". No, I'm not saying that. I'm also not saying that, she lives in Nebraska or she lives in San Diego. That's great too. Or, that whole client avatar thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I can direct you to a client avatar exercise, but I'm not talking about that. I'm really talking about knowing who that person is outside of her, physical appearance, or, that she's married and that she has kids. Now that is important, but knowing what her desires are, knowing what her immediate needs are, knowing the things that keep her up at night, those things you need to know, because you can address those things in your client strategy, in your content, and whatever it is that you're doing. But if you don't have those essentials down, and if you don't know, then it's going to be very hard and it's difficult. You're going to make it difficult for yourself to market, because you're going to be marketing to everybody. And instead of that one particular person, you're going to be attracting the wrong people when you do this. And it's just not going to go well. You're going to be miserable, because you're going to be getting on the phone with people who they have no understanding as to what it is that you do. And also you're going to be getting on the phone with people who are not a good fit, because they probably want to nickel and dime you, or they're probably, shopping around for whatever it is that you do. And I'll keep it real. I've got a lot of clients that did that, especially in the medical billing field with the doctors, in which you would think they wouldn't do that, but they do. And, it's very difficult, and it can be just very discouraging, and it can really lower your self-esteem and just really get you in a negative spot and a negative mindset when you are attracting those people. So the very first essential is that you want to make sure that you do know who that is, and you want to know her characteristics. You want to know what keeps her up at night. You want to know, does she pay her bills on time? You want to make sure that, is she someone that's, going to nickel and dime, or is she someone that is going to do the work necessary that you give her? Is she someone that if you, partner together to build her website, is she going to be calling you all the time? Hey, where's this? Or emailing you saying, I don't know where my website is, and she just signed the contract and the ink is not even dry, or she hasn't even hit send on the contract yet, but she's asking all these questions. So you want to make sure that you know the characteristics. One thing that I suggest, and the one thing that I do, is whenever I have a new program, or I already know who my ideal client is, but if I'm offering something to my ideal client who's at a different stage, then what I do is I write down the characteristics of who she is. I write down the things that I want her to have. Those characteristics are similar, and I write the things that I don't want to attract. So I want to attract a certain person that does this and has these qualities and these characteristics. But I don't want to attract somebody who's nickel and diming, who wants Nordstrom services at Walmart prices. I don't want somebody who's going to reach out to me, and then when I follow up with them, they don't bother to contact me. I don't want someone who thinks that they should get $5,000 worth of services for free 99, or even, $7, because we do have those people. So you have to make sure that in your client attraction strategy that you have your client avatar, or at least the desires, her characteristics, and the things that keep her up at night, and the things that you want to attract and what you don't want to attract. You want to repel those things, a part of your client attraction strategy. Because if you don't know who she is, you're going to have a tough time. And it's okay. A lot of us, we work backwards. I had to work backwards. Like, I attracted all the healthcare providers, and I started noticing there was some healthcare providers in certain specialties that I wanted to help. And there are some that I just wanted to get away from. Like neurology, I love neurologists. They are very, very great clients. So for shout out to all my medical billing company owners out there, that is a good specialty to get into. Mental health, maybe not, And also you want to make sure, I knew that in my medical billing company that we worked better with males than we did with women. So it was the opposite in my medical billing company, because we found out and we observed that, my team and I, we observed that the women wanted us to act as their personal assistant, versus the males knew that we were a company, knew that we had, other phone calls to make, knew that we were doing our job, and they trusted us to do that, versus the women always wanted to micromanage us. So that's what we learned. And we learned that quickly when we started getting, overwhelmed with clients. We learned, okay, here's the ones that, and then we had to make sure also too, that my team, who works best with what person? So did you work best with a woman? Did you work best with this male client? So that way we continue to give the best customer service that we could. So that is one of the key essentials, is to making sure you know who your ideal client is. Hey girl, hey, let me know who's watching, and thanks for joining me. Also, the next part is you want to make sure that you know what is your most favorite, quickest way, easiest way for you to communicate with your ideal clients and your tribe. So for instance, this means, how are you going to communicate with them? you're going to make sure you're creating content. And you want to make sure that you're doing this in the quickest way that you can get this out. Let's be clear, and I'll just be very transparent. I don't like blogging. This is how actually I built my medical billing company, from blogging. But at this point where I am, that takes too much time, way too much time. So for me, my favorite way to communicate is verbally. So I don't have a problem with getting on Facebook Live. I don't have a problem with creating podcast episodes, and that's actually what I'm doing. And another venture, a part of my client attraction strategy is my podcast, which is launching soon, which is the Empirenista Business Success Podcast. So if I like to talk and I have the gift of gab, why wouldn't I use that strength of mine to attract clients? Blogging, that's not a strength of mine. That's not a strength of mine at all. So I'm not going to do that. So what you need to know and what you need to do is take some time, sit there and figure out what is the best way for you to communicate. It's going to be fun. You're going to be able to take action on it right away. You're going to be able to get it out in front of people, and you're not going to hesitate. So that is the next thing, is to make sure you have the content plan together and making sure you communicate in the best way that you know how. So after this broadcast, maybe even while you're listening, take some time. It doesn't really have to be long, maybe 5-10 minutes, and really go down a list of ways that you are actually creating content and the way that you're speaking to your ideal clients. Hopefully you are communicating with your ideal clients. You cannot think that having a website or having a Facebook business page but not posting things is going to get you clients. You cannot think that, just sitting in Facebook groups and commenting is going to get you clients. It's the only way. It's just not. It's not. So that's not what we're going to do. So make sure that you know your most favorite way, or one of the ways, because it could be several ways. I know many of you love to do Pinterest. I have not got the hang of it. I love doing Pinterest for arts and crafts and stuff for my kids, my girls, and my house, home decorating. But let me tell you, all I'm doing is pinning. I'm not actually doing arts and crafts. I'm not actually doing my house stuff. Honestly, I'd rather pay someone to do all that stuff, but that's not here nor there. So you want to make sure that you know your most favorite way to communicate with your ideal clients and get that out there as soon as possible. And then my last essential, and there are more essentials that I have, but I'm just going to drop you down with 3 because I don't want to overwhelm you, is that you need to have your strategy in place for your system. So this is why it all adds up. You got to know who your ideal client is. And also too, you want to know how your ideal clients like to receive their content that they consume. Are they reading blogs? So if you are a blogger and they are reading blogs, that helps you. If they like to watch YouTube videos, that can help you as well. I like to listen to YouTube videos. So I listen to them. Sometimes I watch them if I know that they're going to have a, screen with tips that come along. I'll watch them after that. So, but if that's your good way, then you want to do that too. The next thing that you want to do is you just want to make sure that you have that strategy in place, so that content is going to be there, and then you have the strategy. So I mentioned Pinterest. Is Pinterest a way that you're going to get the ideal clients because you're pinning your podcast or you're pinning your blogs with the images? However it works, I don't know. Is that how you're going to do it? Is the strategy going to be that you're going to, because you now know how to create the content, and you know that maybe you have the gift of gab too, and you can shine on Facebook Live or shine on YouTube videos or shine on a podcast? Are you going to create podcasts to help you? So you need to have your strategy in place. And not only that, create that system. There can be funnels there. There's a lot of things that can be automated, but you have to really sit down and say, here are the really no more than 3 things as to how I'm going to attract clients. Focus on 2 to 3 strategies. Really, in the beginning, especially if you are new, focus on 1 to 2 strategies of getting clients in the door. So that way you can really test and see whether or not this is going to be building up your visibility, establishing that online authority, and you're actually getting sales conversations or people going to your website because you're leading them somewhere else. You're getting emails and inquiries to yourself and PMs and DMs so people can work with you. So you really want to make sure that you are testing out that strategy as well, and that you give the strategy at least 90 days to work itself out. Now, sometimes you can notice right away, like, hey, this is not working. And not only that, I'm not really liking getting this out. So if you like that, you just adjust the strategy, but don't change the goal. Just adjust the plan and how you get to the goal. So That is how you do it. Those are the 3 essentials that I shared with you today, which is make sure you have a clear idea of the characteristics, the desires, the outcomes, the things that your ideal client wants. You want to make sure that you have the best form of communication style for you to make sure that you get in front of your ideal clients. And 3 is you know what your strategy is. So if you don't know what your strategy is, you definitely want to sit down and think about that. That is very important. We do a lot of things that we see a lot of people doing because this person is shining on podcasts. I got to hop on a podcast. This person is doing webinars. I got to do webinars. We see a lot of the leaders and influencers doing things, and not only do we just see them, several of them, we start jumping into those things and we really don't have the strategy that they have in place. So when those things don't work out, it's very discouraging because we didn't really think it through and we really didn't see the backstory of how they set up everything. So you want to make sure that when you're choosing your strategy that there's steps in there, that you have those in place as to why you're doing it, and everything flows smoothly from there. So that is it for today's Empirenista TV. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that these tips were very helpful to you building your empire and your growing business. So if these tips helped you, let me know in the comments below. I do also want to invite you to my upcoming webinar, which is the 5-step client attraction system to more income and more clients. I cannot wait to share this information with you. As I'm not going to spend 30 minutes on there talking about me and my backstory. You'll get that, and I can do that in less than 10. So you'll get that, but there's going to be jam-packed information for you to know, and it's not going to be overwhelming. So when I say jam-packed, I mean no fluff, basically. No fluff strategy on how you can build your business. I won't keep you long on that webinar as well, but I will share with you exactly what you need to do and the mistakes that we often make when we are putting together our strategy that hinder us from getting to our ultimate income and client goals. So I will be sharing that as well. I'm going to drop that comment or that link so you can register for that in the comments below. It's free, and you don't have to pay for that because, it is what it is. It's free. So I am signing off today for the Empirenista TV Facebook Live edition. And I also want to invite you, for those of you who are not a member and you want to get to know me on a more personal level, feel free to join me in my Facebook community, the Empirenista Business Incubator. So that's it for today, Empirenistas. I'm signing off. Have an awesome empire building productive day, and I will see you for the next episode of Empirenista TV.